Hi everyone, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us today in the online edition of Arunachal Pradesh chapter of Eastern Himalayan Region Nationalists Forum 2020. Uh, in redoing a paradigm with ecology at the center stage in these crucial times, it is important we understand how sustainable livelihood opportunities can be generated and how mindful tourism can actually contribute and is contributing to these opportunities. We have a diverse set of speakers today who will construct the discussion today around how successful mindful tourism has been in driving resilient economy in the Eastern Himalayan region, more in the perspective of Arunachal Pradesh. Moving ahead, let me introduce our speakers joining today. We have with us Mr. Jambe Dondu from Tawang, Arunachal Pradesh. Mr. Dondu is the president of Environmental Protection Society, a Tawang-based NGO working for last many years towards protection of environment. Welcome, sir. Our next speaker today is Mr. Oken Tang, joining us from Pasighat, Arunachal Pradesh. Mr. Oken Tang founded Our Country Travels and Expeditions in 2002, one of the leading tour operators in Northeast India, out of his strong fascination for the culture and heritage of Siang Valley in Arunachal Pradesh. Apart from his passion of promoting Arunachal Pradesh as a favorite tourist destination, Tang is a enthusiast and can speak 10 languages, including Hindi, English, Bengali, Assamese, Nepali, French, Spanish, and Japanese. A recommended travel agent in Lonely Planet for Arunachal Pradesh. Tawang, Tang is also the Joint Secretary of Flat and Whitewater Federation of India and organizes expeditions, trekking, whitewater rafting, angling, cultural and festival tours, research trips in Northeast India. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
We are also glad to welcome Mr. Syamkanu Mohanta from Guwahati, Assam. Mr. Syamkanu Mohanta is a renowned entrepreneur in the field of infrastructure advisory and promoter of some of the most popular cultural initiatives focusing Northeast India in rest of the country and outside. His initiatives such as the Northeast Festival Delhi, Colors of India Mumbai, Northeast India Festival Bangkok, and Kongali in Assam have helped Northeast to create a brand for itself and to promote the region as a tourism and trade hub. He is also one of the major prominent thought leaders of Northeast India. Today, Mr. Mohanta will open the discussion with his thoughts on the topic of mindful tourism to generate sustainable livelihoods across the Eastern Himalayas with an objective to explore the potential aspects of creating sustainable tourism in Arunachal Pradesh and help generating sustainable livelihood opportunities for the indigenous communities residing across the state and moderate the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jyotima. At the outset, thanks to Jyotima Balipura Foundation for this wonderful initiative. I've been associated somewhere with Ranjit Thakur, and it's a wonderful work, the Eastern Himalaya, the concept which is trying to take advantage of culture or nurture the ecology and environment of entire Northeast and entire beyond Myanmar to China, Eastern Himalaya, up to Tibet and Nepal. So it's a wonderful initiative, and to start with Arunachal itself, it's so exciting, and to stay among some of the most talented people from Northeast. Madam Koirenia, so lovely to meet you. I heard about you, a lot of good things about you, and it's an absolute pleasure to be with you. I know you are doing great work. I keep on traveling Arunachal regularly, and I've been following a lot of work the people are doing, and I'm really amazed and really impressed by a lot of initiatives to protect the environment. So it's an absolute pleasure to see you amongst us. Jambe Dondu, it's so lovely to meet you from Tawang. He's doing some wonderful work on environmental protection, and Tawang is a real jewel of Northeast. So it's the jewel of Northeast, actually, the most beautiful destination in the Northeast India, perhaps in the entire country. So you guys are doing great job, and so happy to see you amongst us today, Jambe Donju. Oken Tang is a friend of mine.
Thank
I
you,
know him
sir.
for a long time. What he has brought to the table is some very unique tourism propositions from this rafting in the Siang River up to that wall war tourism that he's doing in the Lake of No Return. I have been to Lake of No Returns many a time, and this And the entire concept of Oakentine has packaged and marketed across the world. People are coming. There are people who have lost their families in World War. They come to see the stories of that Lake of No Return and beyond. I think you are doing a wonderful job, okay? And I'm so proud of you, being a friend for a long time. So let's begin. I just give a few background about my association with the tourism industry. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an engineer and management graduate. I worked in NetSea in project finance. I'm a finance man. Then I joined in ILFS. I did power plants, going to Tripura power project. And I did a lot of road projects across the country. I was in Washington, did projects all over, and came back to Assam. I want to do something for my state. So I started my own company called MMS Advisory. I'm into project management. Around 300 engineers are working with me. I'm working entire Northeast from who is and outside. That is where I earn my living. But my family background is culture, so we thought that we must do something to promote culture. I started an initiative called Sankardev Movement to promote Assam's Guru Sankardev. We did in Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai. And then in Delhi, I realized that Northeast India is not represented well outside. A lot of people joined hands from Adil Hussain to MC Mary Kom. In 2013, Nidhu Thania was killed, an Arunachali boy was killed in Delhi because of his appearance. So there we thought we'd do something to create awareness about Northeast. So we started this initiative called Northeast Festival. 13. Idea was to create awareness about Northeast in Delhi. It was in Indira Gandhi Center for Arts, IGNC, New Delhi. Idea was to create awareness, but we got so much of focus. 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, in 7 years, Northeast Festival became the biggest brand of Northeast outside. And it's because of tourism. Where I realized what is the strength of tourism. I never knew. When we started Northeast Festival, our idea was to create awareness, to make people know that we are part of India, we are not Chinese, and the looks may be different, but it's proud India. That was an idea we started Northeast Festival. A lot of people started coming and flocking Northeast Festival, and they started wanting to know about Northeast. In the second, third edition onwards, we started showcasing our destination. We started promoting Majuli or promoting Cherrapunji, the Lake of No Returns, the Lake of all these people, and Manipur, Meghalaya. So tourism over the years. And there I realized that what is the biggest strength of Northeast is tourism. So what's the strength of Northeast? Strength in that we cannot encourage industry because we lack raw material. We do not have raw material in terms of steel, cement, or whatever, big industry is not viable. Handicraft, we have a core competence, but we lack the market, the big market side. Agriculture, we can be a strength. And tourism. Tourism, because of nature, because of people who are so hospitable, and because we are so unexplored. So we started promoting tourism. We started in Delhi, then we went to Mumbai, and we went to Bangkok. Northeast India Festival was organized in Bangkok. Around 122 operators came from Southeast Asia, and around 52 operators went from Northeast, and we organized a B2B meet. And there we realized how much interest Southeast Asia has in Northeast. In Northeast Festival Delhi, we organized some B2B meet with the tour operators of Northeast and tour operators across the country, and we are getting a lot of business leads. While working on this, the COVID, we started picking up, getting a lot of tourists last few years, and post CAA and post COVID, we got a big challenge. Our tourism is in shambles right now. We are facing a lot of problems. So we kept on discussing across our tour operating network. And more we discussed, I was discussing with Oakentine that day. Now the tourism paradigm has to be shifted in Northeast. We need to talk about creating a high-end tourism destination, a unique destination wherein tourists can come and explore Northeast. My feedback, talking to the top tour operators across the country, they feel that post-COVID, Northeast will be most attractive because COVID has taught a lesson. Indians are big travelers. Somehow in Northeast, we only wanted Goras. We want Americans or Europeans. Only 28,000 people come. 20,000 people come to Assam, Northeast, foreign tours. Just enough. Thailand attracts 3.5 crores of tourists per annum. What are you talking about? The main tourists are the domestic tourists. The Indian tourists, Hyderabadis or from Ahmedabad, Bangalore, IT guys are high spenders. They are going to explore a destination which is unique, which can be explored, and nature is the basic essence of the entire concept. This is an impression I want to share from different tour operators meeting across the country. I somehow believe post-COVID, Northeast opens up. And if you can get ready with facilities, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of linkage, in terms of hygiene, we are going to become next big thing. But it is not must. We are not looking for Shillong kind of tourism. We are not looking for this typical Kaziranga kind of tourism. The tourism has to be what we see in Arunachal. Here I comes the topic of discussion. Arunachal presents the most attractive proposition in Northeast India. Mindful tourism is something very realistically Balipura Foundation has put it as a subject for today. This is a feature, the mindful tourism. You go to Arunachal, feel the vibes, feel the Buddhist culture, feel the beautiful the canopy of forest, water, and create a forest bath, an impression of staying inside the forest and rejuvenate and stay away from this hustle bustle of the world. COVID has, again, I want to re-emphasize, COVID has taught the world. I have been talking to a lot of industrialists. What's the point of making so much of money? Our life has become so fragile. A lot of top industrialists with whom I know, the parents or the family member died of COVID. The COVID has taught them that we cannot destroy nature. We must nurture nature. I believe the high-end tourism can happen in Arunachal in a big way, this mindful tourism, wherein the high-end people, industrially, top IT professionals, top company executives, business people, come to unwind to Arunachal. And that is where we create a value proposition. Value proposition in terms of hygiene behavior, a good toilet, a good facility in terms of staying, ethnic food and ethnic culture. We saw nothing foreign, everything Arunachal, the Apatanis, the Adi, they showcase their culture, the liquor, and the forest. This is an experience they are. People go to this place. I have been to this Bangalore, this Jindal place. What is this? They are using Ayurveda to rejuvenate you in a very fantastic way, making big money. Similar facilities, I'm sure, can be created in Arunachal Deep Jungle, in East Siam, in Jiro Valley, in many other places, in near Dirang. So these kind of facilities are needed where people come to rejuvenate. And our nature and our religion, the Malpa culture of this entire zone, the Buddhist culture, the psychology, the mindset, the mindful tourism is something can turn around Northeast, and Arunachal can show the way by creating entire canvas for mindful. So today's discussion is all about this, how to emphasize and create a value proposition, and Arunachal leading the way for the entire Northeast, for the entire. So I start the discussion, open the discussion with the opening remark. I pass on to Madam Cornelia to start with. She is the person who knows nature more than us. And the subject is about nature, about mindful tourism and living with nature. Let's hear from you, madam. We all want to hear from you about your idea, your concept, how to go about, and give an advice to us how we take it forward. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon to all. And thank you so much, Mr. Mahanta, for a very interesting opening remarks. So I'm very delighted to be a part of this first edition of Arunachal Pradesh chapter, Naturenomics Forum 2020. Eastern Himalayas, as we all know, encompasses some 5.2 lakh square kilometer, covering some 5 countries, and ours is one of them. And Northeast India falls under the Eastern Biodiversity Hotspot Zone. So coming from a forestry background, I would stress more on the conservation aspect of ecotourism or mindful tourism. Arunachal Pradesh, as you all know, is very rich in terms of biodiversity, species abundance, or richness, or endemism, as we all in technical terms say. Endemism is something localized presence of a particular species. So with high degree of endemism and species abundance, ours is a very rich state. And 2019, the state has formulated the ecotourism policy in 2018. And as per the ecotourism policy of 2018, in 19 they have constituted the ecotourism society. If I have to give a little background of the kind of relation, we all know that the state is some 90% tribal population with 25 major tribes and 105 plus sub-tribes. So we have, since time retained a very harmonious relationship with the nature. But in terms of scientific forestry, before the 1990, we used to go for logging. And in the 1996 timber ban has reversed the scientific forestry management in the Northeast and in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, particularly because it has impacted 60% of the state exchequer was contributed by the forest sector. And after the T.N. Godavarman case and the ban on green felling, the equation of the forestry, economy, and the people, it changed completely. So now post 96 ban on green felling, the contribution of forestry, mostly in terms of the intangible benefits, which is not directly perceivable by the people, in terms of the provisioning services of the forest, in terms of the regulatory services and the recreational services of the forest, the relationship, the value that the forest gives, that has to be perceived by the forest. It is in this backdrop, it is in this context that now I wish to place the importance of ecotourism or mindful tourism in this very important, at a place where about 80% of the forest area is forest cover. And of this forest cover, 60% is with the community and say 40% is with the department under the state control. So it is in this context, I think that the mindful tourism or the ecotourism is so much important to the concept of conservation, because here the linkage is directly to the people. Through ecotourism provides opportunity where we give the direct economic benefit and directly incentivize the conservation for the people, while providing nature, education, and interpretation. So this is the scope I see from the conservation point of view, and the richness that the Arunachal has. I think as far as ecotourism development is concerned, in the past 1 decade only, we have started, and in sporadic spurs, there has been number of, so to say, biodiversity linked, species linked festivals across the state. We have like Rhododendron Festival, then a bird festival, butterfly meets of this Pasighat butterfly meet, Zero butterfly meet, Pake butterfly meet, Northeast butterfly meet, and there's one state announced a conservation festival, Pakke Paga festival, that is for conservation of hornbill. So that is the only one state conservation festival. Others, I think they charge some entry fees and all. But that is in a sporadic spur. That apart from that, community-based, which has taken some kind of a route, I think I would like to, what we have seen in the past 1 decade is one success story in Pake Tiger Reserve. And then the Eagle Nest ecotourism model. These two has been very successful in the western part of Arunachal and central Arunachal. I think what the Abor expeditions and tours that they are taking up in a growing up very fast pace. And in the eastern side, Phupla Singpho and group some coordination with the forest department and CSEED, some organizations are there. They are doing very good work. And also in the central part, the Zero butterfly meet, they are taking up in sanctuary, and the sanctuary as such, some community-based development they are starting. So if I have to share one by one, So let me just share with, because I get this opportunity to share with so many people, I just, this Pakke model, what they have done is, they have this Gora Abhay Society, which is an association of the Gaumburas of the area. They have helped the department people. They are helping in the conservation in the Pakke Tiger Reserve. One NGO, NCF, they are also conducting this nest adoption program, which is also very highly from outside the area, outside the adoption program, and this is providing employed youths there. So the youths are employed during the round the year, taking care of, they identify the nest trees and they take care of the nest tree, they adopt it till the time they are hatchlings. So this, the payment is being done by the people outside, whosoever are interested to contribute to the project. That is how it is being run. So apart from that, I think a lot of other activities being taken up in the Pakke, but this is one success model, and another one is in Eagle Nest. You all know that Eagle Nest is highly famous for bird tourism because of this endemic bird called critically endangered Bugun leochichla. So this Bugun Welfare Society conservation project, sometime in 2003, it was initiated, and Bugun Welfare Society was constituted. And later in 2006, Dr. Ramanna Atraya discovered this Bugun leochichla, and in 2009, I think they further streamlined it, and community reserve was constituted outside of Eagle Nest. Outside of Eagle Nest, they have constituted Sinchung Bugun Community Reserve. So Bugun tribe has a very low population, something about 2,000 or so. And out of that population, some few hundreds only reside in the Eagle Nest area. So they helped in developing this conservation area outside of the Eagle Nest Wildlife Sanctuary. And later on, a conservation plan was drawn. Based on that plan, funding was done by the state government, and they have developed ecotourism area in the community reserve. They have developed number of anti-poaching camps. 10 to 12 youths are employed as in the anti-poaching camps and guides, and they have also trained rescuers, snake rescuers, who have been trained outside of state. Youths have been trained in adventure tourism outside of state, and they have also developed established adventure site, which again on entry fees payment basis being done. So this, it is of course led by Mr. Indiglo, but the benefit of the entire ecotourism, whatever the resorts they are running there, whatever fooding, lodging, entry fees, and the guiding fees, nature guide fees, all of it, it is being shared by the community, and they have some 12 to say about 20-25 lakhs annual return. So this is just one of the examples of successful example of community-based ecotourism. And also in Tale Wildlife Sanctuary, some community arrangement has been done, and they also employment being generated to the locals, a number of things. So as far as the state government is concerned, I think we are in the right direction as of now. Like I told, ecotourism policy is in place. The tourism society has been last year constituted, and now it has to be on the roll now. So a lot of, from my personal experience, as far as the biodiversity is concerned, ecotourism linking, I think a lot of research, thrust area should be the research gaps, because we need to focus which are the species specific, how are we going to promote the ecotourism, and the stress should be more on the collaboration and partnership. And of course, the capacity building of the people is very important. And most importantly, what I have from my field experience when it comes to community is trust building between the organizations, confidence building between the different organs of the department, the government, and conflict resolution is also another aspect that we, as a training and capacity building aspect that we have to see. And I think if we keep the momentum up, lot of potential, as you said, it is time to now realize our dreams, and we should keep our efforts on. As per some of the studies, hardly we have Arunachal has reached the carrying capacity. You know, we can take in a lot. Even our current carrying capacity we have not attained. So a lot of strong commitment from the community and good leadership, I think, will help us achieve the potential that the ecotourism can contribute to the economy as well as the conservation of the rich biodiversity of the state. So thank you so much for listening patiently. I think I had shared a lot of stories from across the state.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a wonderful presentation. We have learned so many things. So many things are going on. So many festivals are going on. We actually are not aware of many of these things that I have mentioned, and it actually a community initiative is going on in Arunachal. It is playing a major role, and your presentation was absolutely thought provoking and sources of knowledge for all of us, all the participants watching it, and a big input, big value to the entire process of the entire the mindful tourism. This is exactly the mindful tourism we are talking about, and we talked a lot of things. And thank you so much. And I think we'll take it forward. A lot of your suggestions and thought process. Now we get into Jambe, and now I request Jambe to speak about his initiatives, conservation work, wonderful work that you are doing in the whole area, and the mindful tourism. What you would suggest? What are the initiatives we all must take to make Arunachal as a center, and this idea of mindful tourism in the entire Northeast?
Thank you so much, sir. फर्स्टली मैं बालीपारा फाउंडेशन को धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा. आपने इस पार्ट का मुझे हिस्सा बनाया और मेरा जो व्यू है उसको शेयर करने का मौका दिया. थैंक यू सो मच. और जैसे कि टूरिज्म फील्ड में तो मैं हूं नहीं, लेकिन भी जो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है, जो मेरा व्यू है, वो आपके सामने में मैं रखना चाहूंगा. तो मैं खासकर जो तावांग को लेके मैं अपना बात को यहाँ रखना चाहूंगा. हम सभी जानते हैं अरुणाचल का हर एक पार्ट बहुत खूबसूरत है. वैसे ही तावांग भी बहुत खूबसूरत जगह है. यहाँ का कल्चर, यहाँ का ट्रेडिशन इतना खूबसूरत है, लेकिन भी हम यहाँ पर जो हमारा टूरिस्ट है उसका फ्लो हो नहीं पा रहा है. तो मुझे लगता है कि जैसे कि हमें इसके ऊपर में काम करना बहुत जरूरी है. देखिए, आप बिलीव नहीं करेंगे, हमारे तावांग में एक टूरिस्ट गाइड नहीं है अभी तक. ज्यादा नहीं है, लेकिन कभी समटाइम्स आपको 40 to 50,000 ईयरली टूरिस्ट आते हैं, लेकिन अभी तक एक भी टूरिस्ट गाइड नहीं है यहाँ पर. क्योंकि जो वहां से जो आते हैं, बाहर से आते हैं, उनका ऑलरेडी हर चीज फिक्स होता है. उनको तावांग पहुंचना है, नेक्स्ट दिन उनको बुमला जाना है जो टिबेट बॉर्डर में पड़ता है. नेक्स्ट आपका जोंगतसर लेक जो माधुरी लेक के नाम से फेमस है, वहां पर पहुंचना है. वहां से वापस आएंगे, फिर तावांग मोनेस्ट्री जाएंगे, तावांग मोनेस्ट्री से वार मेमोरियल, ऐसा करके उनका प्रोग्राम इतना में फिक्स हो जाता है. लेकिन हमारे यहाँ इतना कुछ दिखाने के लिए है जो मतलब यहाँ के लोग जानते हैं ना, बाहर के लोग को पता चल रहा है. जैसे यहाँ पे आप रोडोडेंड्रन के बारे में मैं बात रखता हूँ. अरुणाचल में मोर देन 100 स्पीसीज रोडोडेंड्रन का स्पीसीज है, और तावांग में ही मोर देन 60 स्पीसीज तावांग में मिलता है. लेकिन इसके बारे में किसी को पता नहीं है. जब फ्लावरिंग होता है ऐसा लगता है कि नेचुरल गार्डन हेवन में है जैसे लगता है हमें, लेकिन इसके बारे में किसी को पता नहीं है. इसका इंपॉर्टेंस के बारे में किसी को पता नहीं है. नेक्स्ट मैं चला जाता हूँ, प्रिमुला है. प्रिमुला अभी मैंने कुछ डॉक्यूमेंटेशन देखा था, उनके पास करीबन 22 to 25 स्पीसीज का ही तावांग से शायद ये डॉक्यूमेंटेशन हुआ था. लेकिन मुझे जितना पता है, मैंने ही मोर देन 50 स्पीसीज अभी यहाँ तक देखा हुआ है. उसके बाद दोबारा मेगानोप्सिस जो ब्लू पॉपी, इसका ही 4-5 वेराइटीज मैंने यहाँ पर देखा हुआ है. जैसे भूटान का नेशनल फ्लावर हो गया ब्लू पॉपीज, ये सब काफी सारा है. फिर आपका मतलब तावांग को मैंने कभी खाली नहीं देखा है, कभी बैरन नहीं देखा है. हर एक सीजन में एक फ्लावरिंग होता है, और लाइक इट्स लुक्स लाइक हेवन. जैसे एकोनिटम है, हमारे यहाँ में 100 स्पीसीज है ऑर्किड का। तो उसके बाद फिर आपको मेडिसिनल प्लांट, आप जहां भी चले जाएंगे मेडिसिनल प्लांट मिलता है यहाँ पर। और अच्छा बात यह है कि हमारे यहाँ में लोकल हीलर्स है, कुछ कुछ ही है जो सिलेक्टेड, वो लोग मतलब इस मेडिसिन को यूज करते हैं नेचुरल। तो इस तरह बहुत कुछ है जिसके ऊपर में मुझे लगता है कि मतलब इसके ऊपर में डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करना जरूरी है। उसके बाद दुनिया को बताना जरूरी है। उसके बाद जो हमारे लोकल्स है उनको बताना जरूरी है, ताकि जब हमारे लोकल्स को पता चलेगा इसका इम्पोर्टेंस को, तो वो लोगों के साथ शेयर करेंगे। इसी तरह एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन होगा। दूसरा बात हो गया जैसे कि अभी इसको कंजर्व करना बहुत जरूरी है। मैं यहाँ पर काफी मीटिंग वगैरह कराता हूँ हमारे विलेज लेवल में, क्योंकि जिस तरह से तवांग में डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट चलता है, चाहे वो बीआरओ का हो, चाहे वो आर्मी का हो, चाहे वो बाकी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट हो, तो इसके कारण हमारे यहाँ में बहुत सारा डिफोरेस्टेशन हो जाता है। और खास करके जब हम ऊपर 10,000 फीट से ऊपर जाएंगे तो बहुत सारा रोडोडेंड्रन का पेड़ मिलता है, लेकिन स्लोली स्लोली वो पेड़ सब खत्म होते जा रहा है। जब मैं मीटिंग करता हूँ हमारे विलेजर्स लोग के साथ में, विलेज हेड के साथ में, तो वो ये बोलते हैं कि उसका कुछ काम ही नहीं है, उसको ना हम यूज कर पाते हैं, ना उसका कुछ काम नहीं है, वो अगर खत्म भी हो जाता तो हमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। लेकिन तवांग में ऐसा ऐसा स्पीसीज है, पूरा वर्ल्ड में नहीं है ऐसा स्पीसीज भी, और वो स्लोली दुनिया को तो पता नहीं चल रहा है, यहाँ में हमें ही पता चल नहीं पा रहा है। तो मुझे लगता है कि बालीपारा फाउंडेशन है, आप लोग जैसे फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट, आप लोग सब इसके ऊपर में थोड़ा डॉक्यूमेंटेशन को लेकर, रिसर्च को लेकर थोड़ा इसके ऊपर में इंपॉर्टेंस देने से बहुत अच्छा सही रहेगा, मुझे ऐसा लगता है। दूसरा हो गया जैसे वाइल्ड एनिमल्स हो गया। लोगों ने फोटो में देखा है, हमारे यहाँ में रेड पेंडा है, हमारे यहाँ में स्नो लियोपर्ड है, लेकिन उसको अभी तक कैप्चर नहीं कर पाया। हमारे यहाँ में कैट लियोपर्ड है, क्लाउडेड लियोपर्ड है, यहाँ में अरुणाचल मकाक है। लोग आते हैं उसको देखते हैं, बोलते हैं कि हाँ ये बंदर है, बहुत कॉमन है, लेकिन ये बहुत यूनिक है, ये हर जगह नहीं मिलता है। जो तवांग में मिलता है वो हर जगह नहीं मिलता है। मैंने रिसेंटली बिफोर दिरांग मैंने वहां पर कुछ मकाक देखा था, और वो उसका सैंपल मैंने जेरासे में भेजा था, लेकिन मुझे बाद में पता चला कि वो अरुणाचल मकाक नहीं है, वो आसाम मकाक है। तो इस तरह का बहुत कुछ है जिसको आज उसके ऊपर में रिसर्च करना जरूरी है। जैसे आदमी लोग आज बंदर को, जैसे कुत्ता को फीड करते हैं, बंदर को भी फीड करते हैं, तो मतलब उसका फूड हैबिट से लेके हर चीज चेंज हो रहा है। तो आदमी को ये अवेयरनेस लाना जरूरी है। बाकी रहा जैसे बटरफ्लाई, तवांग में काफी कुछ है, बहुत स्पीसीज है, पीजेंट का बहुत सारा स्पीसीज है, तो लोगों को इसके बारे में कुछ पता नहीं है। इसके बारे में जानना बहुत जरूरी है, मुझे ये लगता है। तभी जान पाएंगे जब आप लोग इसमें इनिशिएटिव लेंगे, मुझे ऐसा लगता है। इसमें बहुत जरूरी है। बाकी रह गया जैसे कि एडवेंचर टूरिज्म के लिए भी यहाँ में अभी तक तवांग में इतना कुछ खास नहीं होता है, ना यहाँ में ट्रैकिंग होता है, ना यहाँ में पैराग्लाइडिंग होता है, कुछ यहाँ नहीं होता है। जो मैंने जैसे सर बताया कि यहाँ में जो भी टूरिस्ट आते हैं वो जो बुमला है, इंडो टिबेट बॉर्डर, वहां जाते हैं, उसके बाद नेक्स्ट माधुरी लेक जाएगा, उसके बाद वापस तवांग मोनेस्ट्री, ये 4-5 जगह सिलेक्टेड है, उसके बाद वो वापस लौट जाते हैं। और उसको जो इन्फॉर्मेशन जरूरी है वो ऑलरेडी उनके नेट में मिल जाता है, तो यहाँ में टूरिस्ट गाइड का कभी जरूरत नहीं पड़ रहा है। तो मुझे लगता है कि मतलब इस तरह का ट्रैकिंग हो गया, पैराग्लाइडिंग, बहुत सारा कुछ हम लोग कर सकते हैं। फिर हो गया वेलनेस टूरिज्म के ऊपर में, अगर यहाँ में कुछ प्रोग्राम भी किया जाए तो भी बहुत अच्छा है। मैं पहाड़ घूमते रहता हूँ, तो मैं जाता हूँ पहाड़ में, जाके मैं मेडिटेशन वगैरह करता हूँ, योगा वगैरह करता हूँ, तो मुझे बहुत पीस मिलता है। तो टूरिस्ट लोग डेफिनेटली, मुझे लगता है कि इसके बारे में ऐसा कुछ हम लोग करेंगे तो वो डेफिनेटली वो इंटरेस्ट दिखाएंगे। और जैसे मैंने बताया, बहुत सारा थाउजेंड्स यहाँ में स्पीसीज है बर्ड्स का, फ्लावर का। तो फ्लावर टूरिज्म को लेके भी हम लोग काफी मतलब आगे काम कर सकते हैं। और रहा अगर बस्ती लेवल में हम जाएंगे तो हमारा जो आप देखेंगे, सबसे पहले हमारा जो घड़ी है वो ही बहुत यूनिक है। फिर हमारा जो ड्रेस है वो बहुत यूनिक है, हमारा जो खान पान है वो यूनिक है। तो मुझे लगता है कि मतलब जो बाहर से टूरिस्ट आएंगे तो इस चीज को बहुत इंजॉय करेंगे, अगर इसके ऊपर में हम अच्छा से प्रमोशन करेंगे तो। मैं ज्यादा कुछ कहना नहीं चाहूंगा, मैं इतना में खत्म करूंगा, क्योंकि टूरिज्म फील्ड में मैं इतना हूं नहीं। तो मैं आप लोग एक्सपर्ट से सुनने के लिए मैं चाहता हूं सर। थैंक यू सो मच सर।
थैंक यू सो मच जंबे जी। आपने बहुत कुछ बोला। जो तवांग के बारे में आपका जितना नॉलेज है, हमारा नॉलेज नहीं है इतना। हमने सुना है तवांग का, वैरायटीज ऑफ फ्लावर्स के बारे में बोला, वैरायटीज ऑफ प्लांट्स, बर्ड्स, और जो हम लोग माइंडफुल टूरिज्म का बात बोल रहे हैं इस सेमिनार में, इस वेबिनार में। Tawang perhaps is the most ideal location, ideal destination. And our chief minister is from Tawang, and who has a lot of focus on tourism and high-end tourism. So what I feel that Jambeji, Tawang को मुझे लगता है कि Tawang next 10 साल में एक जबरदस्त टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशन बनेगा। एक रोड कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा है, रोड कनेक्टिंग, आसाम से कनेक्शन हो रहा है, रोड कनेक्शन। अभी तवांग का तो इशू वही है, जो डिस्टेंस, जो टाइम लगता है, बट पैरेलल रोड जो बनेगा एंड वंस द एयरपोर्ट बिकम्स मोर एक्सेसिबल, मुझे लगता है कि तवांग विल गेट हाई एंड। लेकिन मेरा यही दरख्वास्त है मैडम, कोई रीना मैडम भी है, so Tawang should remain as a high-end tourist destination.
I am with you. I totally agree with you. हाई एंड टूरिज्म का ही उसमें होना चाहिए तवांग में। एंड एज ऑफ नाउ इवन देयर इज लॉट ऑफ डेन्यूडेशन ऑफ फॉरेस्ट। जाम्बे वुड एग्री विथ मी, वो मेरे से सहमत होंगे कि वहाँ पे बहुत सारा फॉरेस्ट का डिग्रेडेशन हुआ है, बिकॉज वी इन अ कोल्ड प्लेस लाइक दैट, वो फायरवुड का तो है अभी भी डिमांड। सो व्हेन वी लुक एट इस तरह का टूरिज्म हम देखेंगे तो आप देखेंगे नेपाल में या फिर सिक्किम में, I think the pitfalls is coming out कि solid waste ये accumulation को किस तरह solid waste management का आ जाते हैं। Then हमारा ये degradation, forest degradation का, इसको हम लोग we should take safeguards, sufficient safeguards कि इसको cushioning रखे कि हमको इस तरह का impact environment में नहीं आना चाहिए, so that we do not have that kind of negative impact because of tourism। तो वो आपको कैसे करके आप लकड़ी नहीं इस्तेमाल करेंगे, दूसरा वार्मिंग हीटिंग जो इक्विपमेंट्स है उसको आप चलाएंगे, ये सब थोड़ा सा हम लोगों को ध्यान रख के आपको प्रोग्राम में और आपको गाइडलाइन में लोकल कम्युनिटी जो इन्वॉल्व है या टूर जो होटलियर्स जो इन्वॉल्व है, इन सब को ये सब बताना जरूरी है। सो
मैडम यही दरख्वास्त है आपको, अरुणाचल गवर्नमेंट के ओकेन टाइम अभी
यस
जावेद जी, मैं यही दरख्वास्त करना चाहता हूँ, और तवांग तो तवांग ही है, तवांग नहीं तो ये देरांग सभी मिलाकर और सियांग मेरा तो इसको हाई एंड टूरिज्म रखना है। उसको ये जो टिपिकल शिलोंग का जो मेन एरिया नहीं, जो ये शिमला से नहीं बनाना है, मेरा वही दरख्वास्त होगा, वी मस्ट मेक इट हाई एंड टूरिज्म। सो माइंडफुल टूरिज्म, तवांग, सियांग, उसको एंटायर बेसिस, we have to fight for it. We have to speak about it. So I'll definitely try to impress upon our chief minister, who actually will think the same way. We must ensure it remains as a high-end destination.
It should be
high class.
Basically,
yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
Basically, lower in volume, higher in value.
Exactly, ma'am. I went to just 8-9 years before. Went to Bhutan. There's a resort. I forgot the name. मेरे साथ ILSS का टीम गया था उसमें पावर प्लांट के लिए। तो द रिजॉर्ट में वी ट्राई टू एक्सप्लोर द रिजॉर्ट। कितना है रेट? 1000 है। वो मेरे आदमी ने बोला 1000 रुपया है, नहीं डॉलर है, 1000 rupees per night। तो भूटान इन दिस पारो बेस एरिया दे $1000 per night।
Yes, yes.
They give an experience, Buddhist experience.
Yes,
you have a Buddhist experience. You have a
yes.
Buddhist food, Buddhist culture, and you can feel the Buddhist vibe and the beautiful Paro Valley. Bhutan has made the high-end destination, and they are making good money. We need to make it and mindful tourism, so people come and explore themselves and rejuvenate themselves, and that has to be done. So coming back to Oken Town is all up to you, Oken. What is your advice? What you are doing to promote Arunachal as a destination in terms of what you're talking about, mindful tourism, and how we can make Arunachal one of a kind, high-end tourism destination? It's over to you, Oken Time.
Okay, I'm in a very out-of-town place, so the network is a bit erratic. But nice to be a part of this discussion. So, firstly, interestingly, I started my business with rhododendron tours. People who come to see these rhododendron flowers, which grow only in the northern hemisphere. So that's how I started my business. And it's a really, really a special flower. And like our friend from Tawang said, we have so many of them, so many endemic species. And each time, I probably have 1 or 2 groups every year, mostly from England and Scotland. So each time they come, they end up finding one new endemic species. And lots of them are named after Arunachal. Yeah? This one called, Rhododendron metuka, and there's one from Giro Valley, which is called Rhododendron arunachalensis. So it blooms around August, September. It's a really pretty flower. Then, once I had an expedition going to the eastern side of Arunachal. So we had a massive landslide. Then I said, maybe we should go to Tawang, Dirang area. And these are the number one people in on rhododendron flowers. People who has had connection with Frank Kingdon Ward's family and Sherry Ludlow, and really, really big names in the rhododendron field. So when I told them maybe we should go to Dirang, Tawang, they were a bit reluctant. But when they got there, when I took them to a place called Nagajizi in Dirang, they saw a rhododendron called, rhododendron Kesangai, which is basically named after President Bhutan King's mother. And they thought it only exists in Bhutan. And besides that, they saw, at least 4 or 5 other new species. So this is a really, really sort of rich asset we have. And, these are highly underrated, highly underutilized. But having said that, I have been always, whenever I get a chance to speak in a forum like this, we must find a USP. We must find a niche. We must find our unique brand and how we want to place ourselves in the tourism market in the world. So, I always say our strength is our rich biodiversity and ecosystem. So this should be our specialty. And at the same time, we should always stick to the sustainability. I don't agree in opening too much too soon. Bhutan is definitely a really, really good example. They allow, for a long time, they were allowing just a certain number of tourists in a year. And they were charging, $250 a day, which is a very high amount in anybody's standard. But just because it's controlled and the place is pristine, it bit pricey, and they give you a value for your money. So people are lining up. But if you open it, like what happened to Meghalaya, it's just too late. There's no place to stand in any of the tourist spots. Any of this waterfall, there's people just standing, bargaining over a cup of chai. So we rather have nobody coming than this kind of tourism. Our pristine nature, our fragile ecosystem should be, in a very important consideration while promoting tourism. And the other thing is, number one, the kind of policy we have. So, tourism is, first of all, tourism is not the only industry. It's not the only industry. It's not the only solution. There are other things. Let me quickly end. I think this COVID pandemic has given a unique opportunity for us to, retrospect and more importantly, rebrand ourselves. It allowed us a pause from where we can move to with a new, a new path. So like, what Kanu said, I really want Arunachal to brand itself as a high-end destination. Number one, now post-COVID, people who like to travel to a very pristine areas, where it is not crowded, where it is close to nature, where there is no cluster of hotels and people. So Arunachal fits in perfectly. And now we should target, mass tourism. Everybody's welcome, but, sometimes mass tourism has really negative effects. It makes a mela out of all the places. So, it has a very detrimental kind of effect on, places and destinations. So I really feel we should have a sustainable policy whereby, like Bhutan's model, high value but low volume kind of tourism. I think that is what we need right here. And I think we have everything in place really pristine nature. We have really great, fascinating tribal culture, which you cannot find anywhere else. You know, a class, you know, a group of 30, 40 tribes, which is unique cuisine, tradition, culture, dance. So we have really a good brand. But the thing to do is not to open it up too much too soon. You know, open up slowly, cautiously, and in a very sustainable manner. And we should let in travelers and visitors who are, you know, mindful, as you know, our team. And the other term is called responsible travelers, who, you know, understand what's culturally sensitive, and also who's looking for a meaningful interaction. So the tourism should not be an enjoyment only for the visitors. It should equally be an enjoyment for the host. You know, we should enjoy as much as our visitors do. So that meaningful interaction is the core of, I believe, is the core of tourism. So, you know, and high end is the brand we should go for. And if people would come, you know, you'll be surprised. This April, I closed on a tour with an agent from Delhi, and they were paying 7 lakhs of rupees for 6 days tour. Then I was thinking maybe they were some Hollywood royalty, or, you know, maybe some rich Arab couple or something. But I found out they were a doctor couple. They were a doctor couple from Delhi. So we really have this affluent market in India. And Indians are big spenders now, next to Chinese. You know, you go to any place in the world, you know, the Indians are everywhere. So now, just because of this pandemic, I really think that these affluent travelers, educated affluent travelers, would like to find interesting, fascinating destination inside the country. And I think Arunachal really fits in, and that's where we should look at, and that's where we should, aim our policy. So let me just pause here for a while, and then maybe we can carry on. Thanks, Kanu.
Kim Sang is a wonderful, wonderful presentation, and he spoke our mind actually. And we want responsible traveler. We want Arunachal as a high-end tourism destination. Today's topic of discussion is the mindful tourism. We want mindful tourism to happen. We need people to come and relax themselves, and they come and appreciate nature, appreciate the culture, our food, our habits, and pay for it and preserve it while staying. So pay for it is also important because we want to sustain our communities on tourism. And for that, I think two things is needed from our side, from the entrepreneurial community side. Arunachal entrepreneurs should focus on creating high-end destinations. Government of Arunachal, the Chief Minister, who is a very tourism man, is a friend of mine. I'd definitely love to formally write on this point to him. That Arunachal government should incentivize entrepreneurs trying to do high-end tourism destination and promote mindful tourism. Government of Arunachal should encourage private sector. They facilitate the process and they promote the mindful tourism concept. I'm sure people are going to come. People are going to come and explore and rejuvenate and redraw themselves. And it is a fantastic feedback from all of you. I think Kojania ma'am also gave us a wonderful perspective about various aspects of the community, the festivals and activities going on, and nature, and what government is also doing. Zambe Dondu also give a fantastic perspective of Tawang. Okay, so basically, I just want to ask Oken, what is government of Arunachal's policy? We are also involved with a lot of government initiatives. What is
Okay.
Arunachal government perspective on this? What we are talking?
So our government has been very strong and very supportive on this high value, high value, low volume tourism and high end tourism. But we must have a roadmap. Just discussing about it and agreeing on the principle, will not lead us anywhere. So recently, I've initiated a proposed, a plan for the government, whereby we invite the top luxury niche high-end operators from the country. Not too many, but maybe 7, 8 of them. People who are really dealing at the top. People who handles people like Will Smith when they come to India. So that level of people, we should bring them here and show them around. And they are the kind of people who can tell us, okay, this is exactly what you have to do if you want high-end clientele, high-end visitors to come. So I think that's the first step. So that because we don't understand, because I sitting here or the government sitting here will not completely comprehend what it involves to operate, handle high-end, clientele and market. So we should bring in it not only expert, not academical expert, not people who prepare projects, but people on the field, the real operators, real agents who are handling high-end business. So we should bring them in, show them around, and let them tell us, okay, this is how you have to put your house in order. This is the kind of accommodation you must have. This is the kind of cultural experience you must have, which should draw, that kind of business and clientele. So I think that should be the first step. And once we have, maybe we have a tour or two, once some celebrity turns up and go back. So that would be our best ambassador. That should be our best promotion. So we're looking at that right now.
I think it's a fantastic perspective. I think this will be our suggestion also. And we must get people to come to Arunachal, the people who can blow it up in terms of the right targeted market. At the same time, what needs to be done is also important because Arunachal is absolutely virgin right now in terms of infrastructure. Always right people to come on board will be challenging, and that is where I think government has to intervene. Kauranya, madam, are you on? Yeah, we want to hear your perspective. What government should do now? We want government to incentivize and get what should be done is first get some people who are actually into high-end tourism to come and visit the location, give some suggestion, and accordingly make a roadmap. The roadmap should specify what kind of tourism, what kind of facilities, what are the locations, and work on this. We have to get into getting, first is identifying the roadmap and getting right infrastructure on board because that is going to be critical for attracting people. Abhi, what is your point of view on this, Kauranya ma'am?
Yes, I also agree with Mr. Taing. The government in its principle, it sounds good, sustainability, economic sustainability, ecological sustainability, but yes, how will it work on ground? What is the roadmap? What is the roadmap? And not just the general, but going into specifics. I think it will require a lot of investors also, and participation of, like he has mentioned, some experts or people who are actually involved, or the agents, bringing in such people. And I think few of the people who are really interested, or entrepreneurs, progressive entrepreneurs, maybe we should give them credits, or even go for some kind of exposure visit and such sort of things. We should encourage at least a few, from each location, or the ecotourism zone they have identified, or the tourist circuit they have identified. So we should identify people who can take up, people who are interested, rather than going for some general, funding pattern. So areas which have more potential, where the community is interested, where the people are interested, I think we should go for such things. And the roadmap, yes, like you said, the policy should translate into a definite action plan.
See, I feel that Arunachal's biggest strength is that people like you, Madam Kauranya, Madam Jambe, so people like Oken Tayang. So I believe the future of Northeast will be driven by Northeastern people. We have to create, a lobbying platform that these are the things we want, and we force the government to act. And Arunachal is lucky to get Mr. Pema Khandu, who is a very tourism friendly person. And I'm sure, provided the right input comes, they will come out with a right approach. So I think Oken and the whole team, we have to guide this, lead this one. From outside, I promise you here that we will fight for it. We'll fight for it in our platform. We do not want Arunachal mass tourism destination. We want Arunachal should be jewel of entire country. People should look up to Arunachal as a destination for rejuvenation. For that's exactly the topic today. The topic today is mindful tourism. So today, Arunachal should be a destination for mindful tourism. And today's meeting, Jyotirmoy, I would like to sum it up and present before your Eastern Himalaya that conference that we want to promote mindful tourism, rejuvenating place in Arunachal. Government of India, Government of Arunachal, all should work together on this point. And we all should encourage or do a bit in achieving this. This is a lovely discussion. All of you, thank you. All of you, I was given the time up to 5 minutes. I have crossed 15 minutes. Wonderful listening to you all. And really, I also learned other things. And I hope all of you enjoyed the discussion. Over to you, Jyotima.
Thank you so much, sir, for conducting patiently the whole 1 hour session with Ms. Posdinia ma'am, Open Tangi sir, Jambe Dandu sir. And thank you so much for your time. Definitely we'll take forward all your suggestions and inputs. Till then, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really delighted. Thank you.